everybody. This is Amanda with Blue Highway Games, and I am live here today to talk about trick-taking games. Hopefully there'll be a couple people joining us in chat, and as usual, I'll try to keep an eye on that. And for all of you joining us later when we post these on YouTube, thanks for checking it out. I am, of course, as always, very excited to talk about these games. I get to pick them, which is very handy because then I get to pick things that I like. But there are also games that are liked by several of my coworkers. In fact, one of these was picked recently in our staff pick December pick list for the top recommendations for the holidays. And I hadn't played it until then, and I'm very glad that I have now checked it out. But I'm going to start, as always, with one of our family games. So this week I have mostly family games. I would say trick-taking games lend themselves very well to be played with families. If you're not familiar with them, you may have played hearts or spades or euchre or pinochle, or if you're a fan of literary books from the 1700s, whist might be one that you've heard of. But a trick-taking game is one usually played with a 52 deck of cards where players have a hand of cards. They're trying to play down. One person leads. Everyone must follow the same suit that was led by that player. If they do not have that suit, they're allowed to play kind of the powerful suit, the trump suit, and play it down. And that is going to overpower the lead suit. And if you don't have either of those, you'll just have to try to flush cards that you don't need or that are getting in your way. That's a traditional trick-taking game. There are many of them because you can change up how each of those little elements are combined in order to make a new and exciting game. And that's what these 5 games are. They're variations on that theme. You play down a lead card, everybody else has to follow suit, and then somebody at the end takes all the cards in the middle, winning the trick. So it's trick-taking. And I'm going to start with the easiest or youngest of them, although most of these can be played with families, which is good because you usually want a few more people, and right now most of us are just at home with family members, so this is good for most of these ages 8+. The first one I have is Marshmallow Test. This is one that came out probably a year ago, and I haven't had a chance to play it until recently. It is a trick-taking game where you are trying to time when you take the tricks, because at some points, depending on the number of players, when you have taken so many tricks into your possession, you have to go out and then you'll score. But you score based on the number of tricks that other people have already taken. So if you're the first person to go out, presumably there might be some already out there from other players, but you'll probably get less reward than other players. Now, this name of this game comes from that psychological test from like the 80s where children were given the option of having 1 marshmallow now, or if they wait, they get more marshmallows. So the idea of this game is if you can wait a little bit longer to take the tricks in the middle, you might end up with more marshmallows. The game does, in fact, come with fake marshmallows that look an awful lot like real marshmallows, and they're super squishy. I think it would be really fun to play this game with real marshmallows, and then you get to eat your reward at the end or roast them over your oven or your fireplace or your backyard fire pit that you have to hang out with all your friends outside. But the decks are numbered cards in different colored suits representing how many marshmallows appear on the card, and you're going to have a hand of 12 cards. Each round somebody's going to lead. They're going to play down a card. Everyone has to follow that same color. In the first round there is no strong suit, no trump suit, but then in the next round the player is going to call out which suit they think, if they lost the previous round, which one should be the trump suit of the future. So this one is, then the next round trump would be orange, and so on and so forth, trying to time when you take the suit. So sometimes you don't want to have the most powerful card. You don't want to have that trump color because you don't want to take the cards in the middle because you want to wait. Now, if you wait too long, you won't get anything. So you have to time it right and be sure to go out before the last player. So that is Marshmallow Test. It plays 2 to 5 players. It is going to be 20% all next week, which is fun because it was only $14.99 to begin with. So it is a super good deal. All right. The next one I have is also pretty young and cute, and this is the one that was picked by my coworker Sobi as part of as part of the top games for December, and it is a trick-taking game from the family of cucumber games, which I had never heard that term used until a couple years ago when Fünf Gurken came out, 5 Pickles, which was another game that actually has some similarities to this one. So I was pretty excited to play it. But the most exciting part about this one is fairly standard. You get 7 cards, you're going to play down. There's not many rule changes, but you actually don't want to take cards. And the variation that this one adds is that you have to beat the card. Not only just if I lead with a blue, you have to play another blue, but you also have to be equal to or greater than the number that I've played. You can't just play blue to stay within the round. You have to beat it, and if you can't, you are forced then to look through your hand and get rid of your lowest numbered card. The reason this is sad is because all the tricks you take, at the end you're going to add up all those points, and you're going to have a score from those totals, but you want the lowest total to win. So after somebody hits 21 points, that's bad. Everybody else compares, and whoever has the lowest number of points then wins. But what is super cute about this is, of course, the cards that come in this game. They are beyond adorable. I hadn't really heard of Gudutama, but it's from the same studio as Hello Kitty, so of course I looked it up after I heard that, and sure enough, you can get a $150 Polaroid camera decorated out with this Gudutama egg, or you can get this game, which is great for families ages, I think even 7+. It is 2 to 7 players, so if you've got lots of friends or people in your bubble, you can grow this one up quite large. And it is $14.99, so it'll be 20% off all week, and it is super adorable. All right, the next one I have is getting a little bit more complicated, but again, most of these are going to be able to play with family. They say 10+, but if you're a family of gamers, I think younger ones would be able to play, and it's called Time Chase, which is this small box game from Renegade Games, and it is 3 to 6 players. This is the one of all of these that I would definitely recommend you'd want to have the most players possible for, so this is definitely for those larger families, because you play like a normal trick-taking game. Somebody's gonna lead, everybody follows suits. You have to, with this one, you can play your lowest valued card. You're not forced to play, so you just have to follow the color, and it can be lower than the one played. But what makes this game different is each round you're going to have a time marker that gets added to the board that gives you what part of time this game is. So you'd place down 1, you'd play out your hands following the lead. There is an invariant card, is what they call the trump in this one, which at the beginning of the game is underneath the deck, so you can all see what that is. It might change despite the fact that it's called an invariant card. But you play down your cards. If you don't have them, you can play the invariant to overpower and win the trick. And then underneath that time symbol, you're going to put the card that was led plus the card that won the trick on top of it sideways, so you know which one led and which one won. And then it stays there. Whoever won it is going to put down their little marker, say, isn't that great? I won that one. That's my player color. So that's my little marker. And then we're going to all move into the present. We're going to be rewarded in the present with some fuel tokens, which are these great little gems that come with the game. And with your gems, then everybody's going to simultaneously reveal if they want to spend any to move backwards away from the current round marker back in time. So all of those time indicators are going to stay at 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you're in the 5th round, you could pay 3 tokens to move back to the 2nd round. Then when the hands are played out, you're going to start in the present, and anybody who's still got their marker in the present plays the hand down, fighting for that control, and then moving backwards in sequential order. If you move back to one that was already won, you are playing, you see the card that was led, you see the card that was won, and you see what the invariant card is, and if you now have a better card, you can try to beat out and win. If you do, you remove the card that won, you replace it with your winning card, but maybe there was multiple people there and you still didn't win it, and somebody else continued to win it. So they would put down their card, changing out the token to match their player marker, and then they would have control of that period in time. And then everybody moves back to the present, which is now a new number, and you get more fuel tokens to go back even further. If people go back all the way to the invariant, you would simultaneously reveal a card. The highest number is then going to be switched out with that invariant, changing the color of the suit that will be the most powerful in the rounds going forward. It doesn't change the previous things that happened, but it will change that initial card for going forward. Or if you go back in time to change something, you might now have the invariant card that would beat the card that's down. You still have to obey normal trick-taking rules, such as following suit and not playing the invariant cards or random cards unless you don't have anything else in your hand of that suit. But it is, again, best with more players because you can have individual little rounds that are happening at different points in time. You really can't play with two. With three, you may find that you're very frequently playing just a mind game, trying to figure out who's going to go back to what part in time so that you can stop them. The game ends when somebody controls 3 of those different markers in time, or you've played through a full 10 cards, and whoever has the most control at that point wins the game. It is $19.99, but it is going to be 20% off all week until next Thursday, December 17th. So that is Time Chase. Now we're moving into one of the more complex ones as well. And this one's been out for just a little while. It actually now just had a sequel come out, which I haven't tried, and it's called Tournament at Camelot. And it is a medieval King Arthur themed trick-taking game. And the art from it is all very much like public domain art from the period. So the cards are these giant tarot-sized cards, and it's got some really, if you're into that medieval art thing, which I am, it has some great stuff on there. And the way this one works is it's like a normal trick-taking game. You are going to play through dealt 12 cards. Your cards are your weapons. They're going to be things like arrows, swords, sorcery, and if you don't have any of those, alchemy, which is kind of like this game's version of a trump card, though it isn't a particular suit. It's just you can never lead with it unless it's all you have in your hand. And then some sorcerer cards, which are the Apprentice and Merlin, which are some extra mean things you can do to your opponents. But you've got a hand of these cards. Somebody's going to lead. You have to follow suit. You can play lower. You don't have to play higher. I had to take notes on this because trick-taking games, it's all just very subtle. But what you're trying to do is not take the cards, because when you do, you're going to get negative points. So this one is an arrow. It would be worth 5 health points for you. If you have kind of these tainted poison sword, it's actually going to be negative 10 points for you. The Sorcerer's Apprentice is negative 5, and Merlin is a real jerk. He's negative 25 points. There's not very many of them in the deck, but when they're played, everybody is going to then see who played the lowest card, whether it was the lead suit or the alchemy. I think that's the trump value, or is that just wild? Well, you can look it up in the rules, but you don't remember. Everybody's gonna have these health cards, and you're gonna have a little health marker. You're gonna actually start the game with 400 points, and you're gonna be working your way down, losing points in increments of 5 until you become feeble, and then you're getting even worse down to crippled at 0. The game ends when someone hits 0. Whoever has the most health left will win. Now, it's fair. That's really straightforward. So what makes this different? Well, what makes it different is you are all going to be playing as a particular protagonist from that era, be it Mordred or the Holy Knights or Sir Gawain. And you're going to have this special ability available to you through the whole game. It allows you to change the rules in some momentous way. Like King Arthur can add 3 to any card that he is playing. Sir Gawain, all of the weapons shall remain on the table if he has played a deception card. That's the poison card. And they won't be taken by him if he accidentally wins by playing it. They'll remain out on the table for the next round to be doubled to whoever has to take that one. So then they really wouldn't want to take that one because it's going to be worth double the bad health points. So you are playing with a special ability from the get-go. Now there's 2 catch-ups. One is when you reach a certain threshold, your main character also has a matching companion. So the sides of these cards actually, like Tristan and Isolde, are going together. But Isolde won't come out until you have reached 250 health points or lower, and then you're going to have 2 extra help for you as you play the game, as well as the fun elements of I forget the name of this deck, but there are all sorts of things that I was showing you earlier with the art that are going to be available to players who are doing fairly poorly at the end of each of the hands. They'll be able to take one of these cards, keep it for a round, and play it at a tactful moment that will be able to make the outcome better for them, like avoiding the weapons damage, or sitting out for this round, or making somebody else take damage, that sort of thing. So you have these powerful cards that come into play, as well as your protagonist and their companion, that are going to mix it up to try to keep you as healthy as possible, because you need to be the healthiest when somebody passes away on this medieval field of battle. So that is Tournament at Camelot. There's an expansion out that I mean, it's a standalone, so I think you can get just that, or Tournament at Camelot. But Tournament at Camelot is what we'll have 20% off all week. It is $24.99 normally, but you'll be able to pick it up until December 17th at a discount. All right, I only have one more to share with you, and this is sort of the one that's been the most exciting trick-taking game from the past year, and we've had lots of them in store, and at times been hard to get in because it is a cooperative trick-taking game called The Crew. So this game is about taking tricks, but instead of wanting to take tricks or scoring those points or getting the negative points, there's going to be some information at the start of each round. People are going to have their hands of cards. Somebody's going to have the most valuable rocket card, the Trump equivalent for this game, and they're going to be the commander. And there's going to be a guidebook, a logbook that comes with the game, in the back of the rule book, and it's going to tell you how to set up the round. There's going to be a certain number of cards that come out onto the table that say like the pink 1 or the green 9, and then all players, knowing what their hand is, are going to take some of those, and they're saying, in this game I need to take that pink 1 and you need to take that green 9. And so then you're all going to, without communicating, try to not ruin the round for all players. So if I know you need to take the green 9, I'm not going to play the card that will allow me to take that trick, the more powerful one or the rocket one, because I need to let you have it. So I'll try to play a lower one. Of course, that is the game. It can be hard to do so. So the idea is, if you fail at your mission and you take something you're not supposed to take, or you don't get something you were supposed to take, you reset, shuffle up, and start over. And then in your logbook, you can record how many times it took you to accomplish that particular mission, and then move on to the next one. So it starts out fairly straightforward, kind of teaching you as you go, but they get harder and harder. The missions might have, you're not allowed to use communication tokens, which I haven't talked about. So I said you couldn't talk, but there is ways to give information. Players are going to have these communication tokens. They can look through their hand of cards, and at any point during the round, they only have one of these, they can play down a card saying, I have this in my hand, so you can all see it, and I want to let you know that this is the highest green card that I have in my hand, or this is the only green card I have in my hand, or this is the lowest valued green card I have in my hand. Once that information is shared, it can't be changed, even if it becomes like the lowest card is now your only card. Hopefully players will be able to know, oh, so they only have a green 6. I shouldn't lead with green. We should try to let them get that trick by using a rocket card or something and hope that they have one, and try to read the minds of the other players that you're playing with. It is, of course, good with 3 or 4. 5, it's going to be very challenging, and it does have a 2-player variant that adds in kind of a 3rd-player AI that the commander of the mission will then control. Those cards are going to be face down on the table, covered by face-up cards, and when it's time to play down tricks, the commander has to choose which of those face-up cards that are available they want to add into the pool, trying to accomplish the different tasks. And so there's, it works. It is a nice variant with 2, which, so of all the ones that we've had, Tournament Camelot has a 2-player variant that is fairly straightforward, and the crew also has one. So if you find yourself wanting to play these trick-taking games but you're not at home with a big family, there are still some options for you. This one is fairly affordable, only $14.99, but we will have it at 20% off until this coming Thursday, December 17th. And that is it for today. Those are the trick-taking games that we decided we wanted to feature. There are so many more. If you have any favorites, you can tell us about it in our Facebook and Twitter and Instagram posts this week, and let us know your favorite trick-taking games. These are some of the newer ones that I've discovered recently, and I hope you can find a new family favorite. Thank you again for supporting us and continuing to do so as things get a little more restricted or what have you, but we still have some limited in-store shopping. We're still doing curbside pickup, and of course there is still time for some deliveries, though of course farther afield than Seattle, that might be a little bit trickier to get it in time for Christmas or New Year's, so just keep that in mind. Curbside pickup for those locals, always a good option. If you don't want to come in, we'll just bring it out to you. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Take care.